Government shutdown is officially upon us, so let's talk about three major pros and three major cons and how it impacts you financially. Now, I'm going to get into these pros and cons and also go into details for you, but before I do, my name is Rick. I help you turn daily news into daily profits. If that's something you're into, make sure you follow this page. So if you're unaware, the U.S. government officially shut down earlier this morning as they couldn't reach an agreement for next year's fiscal spending. So the question is, how does this impact you financially? What are some of the pros and what are some of the cons? The first major pro is that there's a temporary spending freeze within the U.S. government. Being that the fiscal year started today and there's been no set budget that's been agreed upon, that means the government is not spending money, so we're actually saving money from a taxpayer standpoint. Next is the pressure that this creates on fiscal policy. Since the government is currently shut down, both sides of the aisle are going to have to do a little bit of give and take, which means they're going to have to prioritize the budget. They're going to have to try to cut as much from that budget as they can to get the other side to agree. And they're really going to have to start allocating money where it's necessary and not just bloating the amount of money that they're giving to places that don't really need it. The last major pro is the impact it could have on the bond market. Now, we know that the bond market has been weak because of the jobs numbers, so it's been needing a boost. And when bond buyers see that the government is not prioritizing adding more debt and they're okay negotiating it and not taking on more money, that actually is a strong positive for the bond market and could push the value of them up. Now, let's talk about the not so good stuff with the government shutdown. First major con is the impact that this has to U.S. credibility. Now, I know you may be thinking, what does U.S. credibility have to do with money? Well, if the world sees that our politicians can't come together to make an agreement, they also start questioning if they're responsible enough to handle more money if they can't make a simple agreement on how to spend that money. Therefore, less investment comes in and less confidence toward the U.S. is also present too. Second major con is the impact that this has to finance markets and the stock market. The stock market thrives on certainty. They like to know what exactly is going on. Since we have no sort of sense of direction with when an agreement may happen, that creates a lot of uncertainty, which means less investor confidence. And the last major con is higher longer-term costs. Now, I know right now it seems like, hey, we're saving a bunch of money because the government isn't operational. But the fact of the matter is, when an agreement is finally made, all of those workers that are part of the fiscal budget will have to be repaid for the time missed. On top of that, it costs more money to restart systems that haven't been running for a while. Therefore, yes, we're going to get a short-term boost in our fiscal spending, but long-term, we're actually going to spend a little bit more money because of that back pay and the fact that we have to restart everything. So those are the three pros and the three cons of the government shutdown that we're going through right now.